Oxfordshire News.
Oxfordshire Life.
Sybil Ruscoe.
On BBC Radio Oxford.
So you're at the King's School today in Witney?
Yeah, absolutely I am, because we're back on the big tour, and where better to start the week than at school. I'm standing outside the King's School right now. It's a very beautiful building, Cotswold stone, and the light this morning, it is chilly this morning, but the light is beautiful. Let's walk inside, because we're going to be meeting the principal, Steve Bigu, and his family, who have got up very early to speak to us this morning. Steve, hello, and I don't think I've ever been at school this early in the morning. Tell us a little bit about the origins of this school.
Yes, well, here at the King's School, this was begun back in the mid-80s by a group of Christian parents who were really interested in doing education a different kind of way, and so it's been going for the last 30 years. There's a whole number of children who come from a wide catchment area all the way across Oxfordshire, from Didcot up to Bicester, and so, yeah, this is a really fantastic school, great place to be.
Now, here we are in the foyer, and we've got photos and we've got artwork, and we're going to take a little look around the school later on, but it hasn't always lived in such conventional surroundings, has it?
No, that's absolutely right, Jo. First of all, when it began, it started in various sorts of portable cabins and that kind of thing. And at one point, they lost planning permission back in the 80s for where they were. So they had to go to the Cotswold Wildlife Park, would you believe, just above the reptile houses where they had their lessons, which the children absolutely loved. I'm not so sure that the teachers and parents were that excited by that. But thankfully, they managed to move to better buildings. And now we have some brand new facilities here just on the outskirts of Witney.
Well, I mentioned that the whole family are here, and Tammy's here, your wife, and your girls as well. Let's have a quick word with Rachel. Rachel, how old are you?
7.
And you're going to tell me what it is your daddy teaches you, because it must be quite strange having your daddy as a principal and a teacher. What does he teach you?
PE and games.
PE and games. And Molly, you've got a little fun fact for me about the school, because you can tell me how many pupils go here.
There are 150 and it's always growing.
Always growing. Now, one of the key sort of notable characteristics of the school is the fact that parents are very actively involved in everything that goes on in the curriculum.
Yes, that's right. Because it was started by Christian parents and churches right back in the 80s, that's kind of continued on to this very day. And even this coming week, there will be 50 parents who will be in and out of the school helping, either teaching a subject area they've got expertise in or helping with a lunchtime playground duty. And that's just a brilliant way of kind of setting that community atmosphere, which is the best way to kind of raise children and have them educated. It's a fantastic community sense that we have here, which is why the children do so well and they get such great results and that kind of thing.
Well, the Bigu family leading from the front. We're going to be speaking to Tammy in a little while, Sybil, because as well as raising the 3 girls, Tammy has been one to step up to the mark as a volunteer here. We're also going to hear about the school's connections with community projects, both here in Witney and in Africa. And I imagine the school bell will be ringing at some time, and I'll be trooping off to assembly.
Thank you very much, Jo. It's 25 minutes past 7.
Phil Gale and Friends at breakfast with Sybil Ruscoe.
BBC Radio Oxford.
Radio for Oxfordshire.
And the big tour has kicked off again today in Witney, and Jo's there this morning at the King's School. It's a school set up by parents, and they've been doing all sorts of good things. So what's next, Jo?
Well, I'm going to introduce you to some of those parents in just a moment, Sybil, but right now I'm coming downstairs from the balcony which overlooks the performance area of the school. And as we were hearing earlier on from Principal Steve Bigu, kids come to this school from right across Oxfordshire. It caters for children aged from 2 to 16, so there's an awful lot of activity here. And something you touched on earlier was the parents' involvement in day-to-day school life.
Yes, that's right. We have 50 parents in any given week who are in and out helping, and we've got some of them who've come in early today, actually, to kind of talk about the kinds of things that they do as part of the school community. So it'd be great to meet them.
We've got Liz, we've got Gillian, we've got Hermione. Where are we going to start? Let's start with Liz, because she's pulling all sorts of faces at me. So, Liz, tell us a little bit about how you're involved with the school.
So I'm on the governors, and I head up the PTA, the equivalent of the PTA, and we do lots of social events just to develop the community and sort of a family feeling here at the school. So we have lots of coffee mornings and lots of socials and chats and quiz nights. And we've got an amazing opportunity that's just come up now. One of our parents is part of a company that runs comedies. And so we've got a sci-fi comedy coming here on the 25th, Wednesday, the 25th of September, The God Particle. And that's actually on the website if anybody wants to have a look.
Now, this is so completely different to what I remember of school, Sybil, because when I went to school, I was packed off, from 8:30 to 4:30. It was a no parent zone. So how do you find that your involvement with the school here, Liz? What do your kids make of the fact that, mum's around and mum's part of the school life too?
They absolutely love it. And I think just to see me, I think it's been part of this wider community and this family. And mum is here, mum is not excluded. And, you know, it also provides an opportunity, just there's a relationship with the teachers as well, because we're all doing it together. Although obviously they do the hard work in the classroom.
Yeah, they do. Now, Gilly, let's hear a little bit about your role here.
Hi, well, I'm a registrar of the school, and so that means that I help people who want information about the school with a view to sending their children here. But as part of my parent help, I have involvement with a local charity, and we partner with the school so that the children can go and serve the community at different times of the year, painting, decorating, gardening, that sort of thing. And I think you'll be hearing from some of the children later who've been involved.
And they enjoy that, do they, the kids being given extra stuff to do?
Absolutely, because I think that doing a good turn, to put it in the colloquial, is something that we're all quite programmed to do. We want to do. We want to make a difference. And the work that the children has done has not been set up or constructed in any way for them. They are genuinely making a difference.
And which children do you have at school at the moment here?
I've got 3 children in the school at the moment, and so from juniors right the way through to the top end of the seniors.
Wow. Now, Hermione Woodley, I'm a little bit in awe of you because you help kids through their chemistry lessons here, don't you? And science was not my strong point at school, so I'm quaking in my boots. What exactly is it you teach?
Well, my background is chemistry. I've got a doctorate in chemistry, so I teach the senior school, part of the senior school chemistry. And so I've actually taught, I think I'm on to my 3rd child, actually, in the school. So, yes, I deal with that.
What's that like as a dynamic, teaching your own kids? Does it put pressure on you? Does it put pressure on them, having mum at the head of the classroom?
To be honest with you, it's a real privilege to be able to teach your own child, and they're so used to it. It's such a family affair, this school, that they're so used to parents being around that they just feel very comfortable with it. So all of them, it's just not like it's mum, it's another member of this school family, parents, teachers and children all working together to make it work.
And you've authored a book as well, haven't you, on a very personal perspective of your life?
That's right, yes. My 3rd child, Joshua, he's autistic and he goes to a local school. And I've written a book called Joshua's World, which is available on Amazon. And it's just basically about, one of my passions is special needs. And it's about our experience with him, how we've dealt with it, and how our faith is such a pivotal point in us dealing with him and just pressing forward. And it's just an encouragement and a hope and, to people around.
Well, congratulations on that. We'll be looking out for that book, and we're going to be finding out shortly, Sybil, a little bit more about what Gilly was talking about painting buildings and weeding gardens and getting involved in the Witney community. These kids are so driven. They really are a part of the town. They go out into the town. The town comes here to the school. We'll talk about some of those activities as well, and making the journey to Zambia, of all places.
Oxfordshire News.
Oxfordshire Life.
Sybil Ruscoe.
On BBC Radio Oxford.
It is the big tour this week. We're starting off in Witney, and at 8:22, Joe's back with us. Hi, Joe.
Hi, yeah, I'm here at the King's School. Can I say it is rather uncharacteristically quiet where I'm standing right now for a school on a Monday morning, but things are about to change because as I come past this wonderful sculpture, which I believe is decorated with decoupage, because I learnt that the other day when I was at the craft shop. I can come into the main hall here. We have got a bit of activity going on and we have some music. So Vishesh here is on the guitar. We've got Toby, we've got Karis and we've got William, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their involvement with the community projects, which we touched on earlier on when we were speaking to some of the mums who are very heavily involved with day-to-day life here at King's School. So let's start with Toby, because you were doing your D of E last year, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
How successful was that?
It was all right.
What was your community-based project? Because that's what a lot of it hinges on, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I did a lot with it as my volunteering as my DV, and I helped people move house and pack a lot of bags, so pack boxes and food. But it was a really great way to give back to the community. It was a great rewarding experience, yeah.
Keep playing there, Vishesh. You're sounding great. We never know. Might get you a contract by the end of breakfast. Now, Karis, you were telling me that your community-led work involved gardening. You were a little bit reticent to say that you were a keen gardener, but then you told me that you and your family are doing some pretty great things on the garden fruit and veg front at the moment. So what were you doing in your community project?
Well, I was having to dig up the weeds in the slots between their patio, but we were basically cleaning up this lady's garden for her.
Why couldn't she do it herself?
Well, she was quite an old lady, and I think she had a few back problems, so I'm not sure she was able to bend over and do the gardening.
So how did it feel to be doing something that for anybody that is, maybe younger, fitter and healthier would seem quite an easy job? How did it feel to be making such an impact in this lady's life?
It felt really good. It felt like you were giving back to the community.
And William, you as well, you live here in Witney because we were saying the kids come from all over Oxfordshire to come to King's School. You actually got involved with the school's community project and then got your dad involved in it too.
Yes, I did. We went there with a team of 5 of us to help paint this lady's son's bedroom. And then a few weeks later, me and my dad went back to deliver and construct a desk that had been donated. It was really good to go back and see how much of a difference it made to the family.
And this community work, Mr. Bigu, is very much a part of the day-to-day school life, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. As a Christian school with very strong Christian values, we think it's really important that the kids get a sense of being involved in the community, serving their local community, serving the people in the community. And so we try and teach them that through lessons and through assemblies and that sort of things. This has been a really practical way. They've been able to go out and actually do that with real people in the community around here.
Well, there's a giant map of the world on the wall here. We're going to see where that's going to lead us next, Sybil.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Oxfordshire News.
Oxfordshire Life.
Sybil Ruscoe.
On BBC Radio Oxford.
We've sent Jo out this morning with the radio car. She's in Witney at the King's School. Hi, Jo.
Hi, Sybil. Yeah, it's a really great school, this. I've moved now to the primary school. I'm outside the Newland building, and kids and parents are heading in for assembly. Some great playing fields behind us, which I think would have been the highlight of my day if I'd been at a school like this, being able to run around those. And I promised you finding out a little bit about the connection between Witney and Zambia this morning, because the King's School here is very strongly linked with a school in Zambia. So Steve Bigu, the principal, has been my host here this morning, and you've been introducing me to all sorts of people involved in all sorts of projects, not least this international project. How important is this for the kids to see a completely different world?
Yes, it's really important to us. Obviously, being in a lovely Oxfordshire town like Witney, sometimes the connections with the international scene aren't so clear, so we always try and take them into places in the developing world, for example. We've been to India and also been to Africa to give them a chance to experience what life is like out there.
And Mr. Hulks, Ben, am I allowed to call you Ben?
Oh, yeah, today, absolutely.
OK, well, just for today, you actually took the Year 11s last year to Zambia, so tell us a little bit about what that involved.
Yes, well, basically went for between 2 and 3 weeks, and we went to North Zambia, the place near Ndola, went to a activity centre, and from there went for a mountain expedition. Then we did some work in a village where we helped with home-based care, which was visiting some of the most needy of people in Africa. And also doing some building project. We did lots of plastering of walls and things like that.
Kind of things you can't learn in a classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right there.
What was your personal experience of it? I mean, you must have come home with some really sort of new ideas on how education can sort of diversify, I suppose, into these areas.
Absolutely. I mean, I myself have been to the developing world before, but actually taking a team of young people, Year 11s, and seeing how much they grow and how much they find out about themselves and about the world is just phenomenal. It's fantastic.
I imagine there were one or two funny occasions as well, because there always are going to be, aren't there, when you have that sort of eye-opening clash of cultures for the first time?
There always is. I mean, in mountain expedition for myself and my wife, we had to abseil down a bat cave. Now, we hated it, and the Year 11s loved it, so that was interesting.
Not much finger pointing and laughing at you, I imagine. Just to quickly point out as well, we were talking earlier on about the God Particle, the sci-fi entertainment night that's taking place here next week. That has been co-written by the people behind Miranda, and I know Miranda's hugely popular, so if you want to laugh, a scientist and a vicar walk into the bar, ... That's what the poster reads. And you have an open day coming up as well, don't you?
Yes, we do. On the 5th of October, Saturday 5th of October, from 10 o'clock, please do come and have a look around the school. It's a great school. We get great results. It's not a selective school academically, but 50% of the grades that the kids got were A's and A stars. It's fantastic because of the parental commitment and the sense of community in a school of our size. We can just do that kind of thing. I just love as many people from the community to come in and have a look around and enjoy seeing what the King's School is and does.
Well, it's been lovely being here today. I'm always a little nervous when I turn up at school, Sybil, for radio car duties, but this school's made me feel very at home. I don't feel like I've left any homework behind. I do have the right colour shoes on, and the assembly bell's going to ring any minute.
Thank you very much, Jo. Fantastic to hear what's happening at the King's School in Witney today. Witney, of course, our big tall town.
Oxfordshire News.
Oxfordshire Life.
Sybil Ruscoe.
On BBC Radio Oxford.